Thanks for coming, guys. My name is Gabriel Schindler. You don't need to remember the whole name. You can just go by Dennis or Gabriel, see how it goes. Sometimes I listen to it, sometimes I don't, so just try it out. You don't need to know the first class I did on this topic because the position is different. But I will say that it will help you understand the whole game better. So just click on YouTube, watch it, give me feedback on it, on the first class regarding the topic, because there we went over straight and cross-inside configurations. And today is about 50-50. Okay, leg locks don't work. What does that mean? Well, obviously they work. They're very effective. It's a little more about false positives, and people tap to stuff they shouldn't be tapping to just because they don't know what to do, and they do stuff wrong. That's why we're going to label the class leg locks don't work, because if you don't do those mistakes, it's much harder to get to. Okay? With leg locks, it's a little bit like everything in jiu-jitsu. You think you're good on leg locks until you roll someone who's actually good with leg locks. It's a huge difference. Is everyone here familiar with 50-50, the position itself? Does everybody know it? If you don't, grab me after. If you have questions, just ask away, right? Come get me, it's no problem. Right? If I use terminology you don't know, ask me. I'll explain everything. But if you don't ask questions, I'll just assume that you understand what I'm talking about. Okay? So, 50-50 in itself. Why 50-50? It's a position where we both have the same options as long as we have the same position. And 50-50 is much more than having the same position. You will see that later. But this is a good starting point, okay? We both have options here. We're neutral, 50-50. That's why the position is called that way. What we're going to do today is, besides false positives, I'm going to illustrate the differences between cross-inside ashi, which would be legs to the inside, and 50-50. Because the problem is that many people tend to think it's more or less the same in terms of offense and defense, and it's not. And people get in trouble doing that. Okay, the 50-50 is not new, it's very old, but it's a relatively new meta on the highest level. Because people notice that this alone doesn't work anymore. Because one of the positions covers the weaknesses of the other position. And that's important to know. That's why, if you want to be really successful with leg locks, you need to have both. Okay, that's just really important. You can start with one or the other and work from there. You got to start somehow, right? But at the end of the day, you need to learn both. And they have many similarities, but they have difference also. When I'm in the inside position here, my legs are not as vulnerable. If I am on the outside, my legs are as vulnerable as his. I need to keep that in mind. That's the first big difference between cross-inside and 50-50. The second big difference between those positions is what the secondary leg does. When I'm on the inside, he wants to keep the secondary leg away. Because if I grab it, I can sit him in the position. Just bear in mind that against good people, it's not easy to get the heel here. Okay, it's work. Just bear that in mind. But once I got the secondary leg, he's stuck. He can't move from there. It's a really good pin. I can pin and hold people here for long periods of time. So in this configuration, he wants to keep the legs apart so I can't get the second leg and he can move. If he does the same thing in this position, he just leaves himself vulnerable. There are ways to do it, to stand up and stuff, but you need to keep that in mind. The job of the secondary leg is not the same if you are on the outside or on the inside. Defensively and offensively, that's really important. The next big difference is that against this position, he can rotate out, right? And he can free his knee. When he does the same thing in 50-50 and he tries to turn out and turns, he's just going to end up in the backside 50-50 position or backstabs and I get the break there. That's what happened to PJ Penn against Ryan Hall. Right? He backstabbed, and while he backstabbed, he got his leg broken. Right? And we're going to go over that, what to do when we're in the backside position. It's essentially more or less the same position, just that he's facing away. But it's the same thing, essentially. It's just a different orientation. Okay, the orientation describes where we are in relation to the floor. So when we're here, we're neutral. If Giles steps over, this is backside because I'm on the backside. Okay, those are different orientations we have. There are more, and we're going to go over them. So bear with me. Right? So the first difference was my legs are in danger when they're on the outside. When in the inside, they're not as vulnerable. The second difference is what to do with the secondary leg. The third difference was we have much more rotational escapes with cross-inside configurations than with 50-50 configurations. And really, really good people messed that up. One good example is Philippe Penn. He got his leg broken against Tex Johnson because he treated the position the same way he treated cross-inside. And against Gordon, it worked great because it took his back off of it. But against 50-50, we can't do that. That's the next big difference. When Giles is putting me into an inside heel hook from the inside position, right? And we're here, and I hide the heel, and he goes belly down. I have back exposure. There's nothing in between us. I can attack the back heel, right? And that's what, in variations, Felipe did to Gordon. Now, if we contrast that with the 50-50 configuration, when he goes belly down, I can't expose the back because his legs are in the way, right? So off of cross inside, you have back exposure. Off of 50-50, you don't. That's important for him offensively as well as me defensively because I just can't turn out of those positions just like that and attack the back. So in the new meetup, what people did is they may start in inside, and while people try to rotate out, they switch to an outside configuration, 50-50, where you can't turn out. That's not as simple as the things we're going to do today, but you need to keep that in mind. That's why I say you need both, because one covers the weaknesses of the other position. Just for the record, I'm putting more information into this class as usual, just because we got it filmed, so you can re-watch it. And if questions manifest themselves after, go get me, right? Write me a message. That's no problem. But now I can give you a lot of information about what to do and what not to do, and you can always rewatch it. Okay, so it will be an information overload, just that you know. Don't even try to remember it. When I do braking mechanics in the cross-inside position, I need to go with lateral brakes, which means I counter-rotate instead of rotational brakes, where I just rotate the heel. Because he can turn out of the position. It's pretty common. If people just rip it across, and I'm not advising you for this escape, but it will happen. And I just rip it, and he's gonna step out, I may lose the knee, or like he's just mobilizing his hip, alleviating the pressure. That's what happened to Bernal Dariush in his match against, you know who I mean, right? Yes, exactly. Right? He went for a rotational break, and he couldn't go through with it. In 50-50, the position itself is able to hold the knee in place in relative position to you, and you can't turn out, even if you use rotational brakes. So in 50-50, you have the opportunity to use rotational brakes. When we're in 50-50, and I use a rotational brake for it, and he goes with it, he just turns into backside 50-50, and things get worse. He can't turn out of the position, right? So I have the possibility for rotational brakes. The other thing with rotational brakes is that sometimes, especially you see that in MMA a lot, TJ Dillashaw is a good example. He actually got his leg broken, okay, in his last fight by the heel hook. But he didn't tap because the pressure and the damage wasn't as devastating. You got, in general, more devastating breaks with lateral breaks than with just rotational ones. Okay, and he kept fighting, and he still won the match. So that shows you that, okay, he's hurt, his leg is broken, but he still continued. That you gotta keep that in mind, especially if you're gonna go into MMA or a high-level competition where people are willing to take a break. And it's, for you, aside from judo maybe, it's not important just because don't go there, right? Don't let your leg get broken on a small tournament, and that's not worth it. Or in training, right? Just don't do it. Helix is that people always told you they're dangerous, you're gonna grab the heel, your knee's gonna explode. That's not true, okay? Put me in a straight action configuration, Helix levels.
So?
Yeah.
You want to?
Yeah.
It's already broken. That's the catch.
I'm not particularly flexible. It's just that he's doing a shitty job. And he should know better because he visited my class yesterday. No, but jokes aside, it takes a while. But every one of you is different. Your mobility is different. Some people feel it in the knee, some people feel it in the foot. Like, there's differences between you. And some feel it more right from the get-go, and some are just sitting here and everything's fine. But you see, the problem is, Jaws touched my heel. If I'm like, oh shit, oh, okay, tap. Both of us are not gonna learn how to play the game, right? So even if he does everything correct, he has a good position, he has my heel, he's putting pressure, like, I can still get out of the position. It's not over. And that's one of the reasons why you get so many false positives regarding leg locks. So you think you're doing everything right, your partner taps, and you think, yeah, okay, that's the way to do it, but your partner just didn't know. And then you grapple against someone who knows, and nothing works anymore. And that's very, very apparent in those positions, right? And you have that everywhere in jiu-jitsu, not just leg locks, but because the general level of knowledge with leg locks is still lacking behind between the other parts, it's more common in those positions, right? But everyone that has done it for a while, every one of you knows that you grappled the beginner, you did something, he tapped, and you know, all right, that wouldn't have worked against someone who's really good. And that happens here a lot. So I want to go over false positives in 50-50. And I promise then we're through with theory, and then we're going to go into techniques, okay? So you know how to defend yourself there. So the first false positive you get is people use this leg to do anything and just expose themselves. It's not, I did something good, he did something wrong, okay? You can use this secondary leg, and you should use it. You don't need to hide it. So when you get people here and they're not using their secondary leg for anything, chances are really high that was a false positive. Because he could use this leg to slip, to do all kinds of things. And you see, it's not that easy. You can hide it and everything, right? So use the secondary leg if you need it. And there's different approaches to it. You can stand up, but it's important to know how. So it's either you use the leg to stand up or you use the leg to defend yourself. And you need to switch between those things if something goes wrong. Okay, and if people are not doing that and you catch them, that's probably a false positive. The next false positive you get a lot is people try to turn up. It's not the right thing to do. We have some turning escapes, but there needs to be certain things in place so we can do that. So when we're here and Josh doesn't know any better, he just turns out, all right, thank you, I got it. It's not you did something right, he did something wrong. I'm not saying that this is not valid all of the time. As I said before, there's some exceptions to that. But generally speaking, that's not the way to go about it. The next false positive people get oftentimes is they just stand up and they don't know how. Okay, so Giles puts weight on this foot, which is good because I can't get the heel off of those positions. But his leg position, let's turn it a little bit. His leg position doesn't give him the opportunity to keep standing. I just need to point my knees outside and I just sit him back down. And the worst part about that is when the leg is really, really bent and I do it quick and he resists a little, you can hurt your knee doing that. Okay, because I hit in and he just tries to rotate his knee to the inside. I'm way stronger than he is. And the pressure is on the knee while doing that, especially if the foot is stuck here. That happens a lot, especially in the gi. The foot is stuck here and I sit you down and people hurt their knees. Right? So all I need to do here is point my knees to the outside. And I have heel exposure right away. It's not good heel exposure because he can't do things, but I got him back to his spot. It's not going to work out that way. You need to know how to stand up to make that work. Right? You can't just blindly stand up, especially in a context where you have points. Right? If you're in tournaments and do that kind of stuff, like you get swept like that and points and everything, it's not going to work well, especially in the gi, because when people play 50-50 in the gi, it's sweep, 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 and the last one that gets the sweep gets the win. Without the gi, it's much more dynamic because of the heel hook. Okay, you can't play the same game. Does that make sense for you guys? Okay, so those are just a couple of examples how he breaks himself. It's not that I did something good. And you need to know that. Just because you need to learn when you did proper stuff and when the other guy just messed up. It's a feedback, right? You need feedback off of your partner. And a tap is feedback. But if it's a tap that's not valid, then that's a problem, right? You need to understand that. Any questions regarding this? Yeah. I'm sorry? Yeah. Giles asked me in 50-50. One good way to do it is straightening the leg and getting a 90-degree angle with my toes. I need to keep this straight. And from here I can stand up. And Giles can just put me back on my butt. It's not going to work because the alignment is not correct for him to do that. And from here I can work. Like I can start standing up more if I want to. I can get legs around and do different kind of things. But that would be a correct way to stand up. Any other questions? Yeah. Of course. It's straightening the leg, getting the knee to the outside as well as my foot. So I'm in alignment, I'm strong here. Now I can heist up. And if I want to, I can even stand up fully from here. As long as this is straight, I'm leaning forward and not going that way. That works. Now, for MMA, it's important to know that Giles is extending. Like I can't just punch unless I move in. Now it becomes a little dangerous, right? Because he can put me down, but while he puts me down, I'm gonna smack him really, really hard in the face. Right? And then it's like, okay, damage management. If I knock him out with it, it's his problem. If I can't knock him out with it and he's gonna break my leg after, it's my problem. Right? So you need to put that into perspective. But if I'm here, it's really, really hard for him. He can do other things, but he can't just bring me down to the floor that way. Right? But as soon as I come over here, he's just gonna whack. And that's not a good thing. But for self-defense and for MMA, I can swing at him really, really hard while I fall. And that's a strong punch. Keep that in mind. If you're interested in this kind of things, Ryan Hall has a good instructional on that, where he goes into great detail about how to make it work in a contact where you can strike as well. Okay? Any other questions?
Probably the wrong time for the question, but what was wrong with Charles's heel hook on the outside from the...
I'm going to answer that question later.
Cool. Thank you.
Pretty much everything to sum it up. Any joint lock, if you're not sure, tap. And if you have a good training philosophy at your gym, then you can go into really late stage stuff. It's not he's going to arm lock and he's going to rip it. He's going to extend the arm and then both of us are going to work. It's the same with the heel hook, right? When he has me in the heel hook, and we're here, and he starts slowly putting pressure, and I can still like wiggle, see if I can get out, go through with it, Joe. It's like, nah, I can't, maybe I can. Now he's putting more, I can't slip, all right. And he didn't even put much braking pressure into it. He just made everything really, really tight, and he could have gone through with it. But both of us could work. And if you don't have that at your gym, try to implement it, because it's gonna get everyone way, way better. It's not about catching it and ripping it. It's about catching it, controlling it, putting pressure slowly, so both of us can work. So both of us don't get false positives, right? Because if he rips it and I just, maybe he was sleeping, he's too fast, whatever, he gets me where at points where I could have escaped if I was a little bit more aware. So you get a false positive offensively and defensively. And that's just really, really important. But when you do it the proper way, you feel it in the ankle, you feel it in the knee most of the time. And you feel, oh, that's not gonna get good, all right, tap. And that's one of the reasons why it's good to practice the braking mechanics, because then you know how it's supposed to feel and you know how far you can take it because your partner is going really, really slow. You learn your own body, or you know your body better if you do that. Does that make sense for you? Okay, we good? Okay, you can cut that out. We're gonna resume with the 50-50 class if it's okay for you guys. So now, the first thing we're gonna do is get into the position itself, right? This is an open position. Like, we are neutral. We are both on our buttocks, on both of them. We are neutral, okay? This is the neutral orientation of 50-50. If you don't know how to get into it, it's just one partner is giving you your leg, you scoop in, you come around, and then we're here, and everything is good. So this is truly neutral. The next thing, the next orientation is the low side or the inside knee position. For the moment, my partner is just gonna move his second leg away so I can bring my knee to the floor here. And please keep in mind to have a shallow triangle, not a deep one, unless you want to get toe holded. That's what happened to Fionn Davis at the ADC finals. Okay, you don't want to be here. You want to be here and everything is fine. If he tries to meddle with my feet, I don't care, right? This is the next orientation. You have that with closed feet and open feet. So now if he closes his feet, you see the difference. I have his knee in my knee line, but he has my knee not in his knee line. I'm out. So even if he gets it here, he gets the heel hook here, as long as my knee is not into the position, it's not inside of his knee line, this is his knee line, this is my knee, it's inside, he can break me. It's outside, he can break me if I don't move. Don't get that wrong, right? So if he puts pressure here and I don't do anything, he can still break me, but he can't permit me from moving. So when he's putting braking pressure, I can just move out and everything is fine because my knee's free, right? So if you want to get out of the position, you want to be here, offensively as well as defensively. The next orientation is belly down. So we're just going to put the leg away a little bit, come onto our knees, put the forehead to the floor, and keep the leg on this side. And the last one we're going to do is just roll through, and this is the backside position. If Giles back steps from here, we're back in neutral. Right? So you know every orientation. If you have problems with that, just get into 50-50. If you're not familiar with the position, just do this and nothing else. But if you can, go to the inside knee position. If you can, thumb belly down. If you can, come to the backside position. And then he's going to back step. And now it's his turn. So we familiarize ourselves with all the positions or all the orientations inside of 50-50 that are important. You can't have just one of those. If you want to get good, you need all of them because all of them have pros and cons. Okay, so just get into the position, do the neutral one, inside knee position, belly down, roll through to the back side, then your partner back steps and you're back to neutral. And now it's your partner's turn. Does anybody see it again? So, fiddle your legs around, 50-50. If you have problems, your partner can help. If you don't know what to do, both of you, scream, get me, right? Okay? If Giles wants to, he can help a little and walk around, unless he wants to practice, then that's all right. Right? So we're here. Now we're in the inside knee position. Don't put the triangle here. You get toe. Shallow triangle. Now we're just gonna go belly down. Put the knees to the floor, put the forehead to the floor. Don't do this, please. Right? It's always the forehead. Now we just roll through. Now we're in the backside orientation. My partner back steps. And we are back in neutral. Now I open up my legs and my partner's. Right? Everyone got it? Okay, go. So I want to answer a couple of questions that some of you had, and they're important for everyone. So, some people ask how to close the legs from there. It's important that the outside leg is coming over the inside leg. If he does it the other way around, it's easy to attack this, right? And I don't want to have that happen. Now, the next question was, okay, why are we doing that? And the answer is another false positive we didn't go over before. What people do from here is they hide the heel the same way they do with cross inside. So they curl their leg in and we're here. Now, if I stay here, I can't get it. But if I go belly down, then that's not an issue anymore, right? So I go belly down, I can catch it, I can finish here, or I can roll through and finish here. So that may be one of the reasons why I would do that. One other reason is, one of the problems you have in 50-50, and that's one more difference between cross inside and 50-50 we didn't go over, is when we're here, I have my legs between us. So it's harder to hand fight. It's not impossible, right? So when we're here, but like Giles with his midget arms, he's not gonna grab me, right? Now, but if I'm here, I don't have anything between us. So he can grab me and hand fight. And that's a big problem. And that's how we slip the heel most of the time. And that's what we're gonna go over next. But I still wanna answer the question properly. So when we're here, it's a little harder because I have more between us. When I'm here, he's not gonna reach me, right? So I can break him. He can slap my butt, but that's it, right? Now when we're here, he can't hand fight either. He can't even reach my butt. Yeah. Right? But when we go back and we're here, he comes forward, he grabs me, he slips the heel, and now we're out. That's the reason why we need those orientations. It's for me to be able to break him before he can hand fight, or not let that happen at all. Does that answer the question? Yeah? Any other questions regarding the things we just did? Yeah.
If he is forced to spin, you can't finish the on belly down.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
If he forces me to spin, I can force the break belly down. Belly down breaks are pretty nasty because of gravity. So be a little mindful of that, not to just drop your hips into the knee, right? So keep stable. If you don't have a strong enough core to do that, then don't do it, okay? Because you don't want to put your partner at risk, right? But yeah, the belly down finish is really, really strong. Any other questions? Yeah. Any other questions?
What do you do when he hides the toe? He hides the toe and smaller back. Can you still go for a heel, or do you do something?
He hides the toe?
Yeah, he kicks his foot out and puts it behind the shoulder blade, hides his heel. So by doing that, it's hard to get the heel.
Show me. Ooh, oh, all right. That's a good question. The answer is thank you. Because if he does this, he gives me a long lever. I just need to bring my shoulder and my elbow back and I have it. So you just gave me your heel voluntarily. Yeah, you made it easier for me.
Okay, good. Good to know.
Any other questions? Yeah.
Why you prefer to cross your legs to do a triangle and not put one on the other?
That's
I know some guys they do this.
Yeah.
Why you prefer the triangle?
Yeah. The triangle is intrinsically stronger because you have a closed circuit and they can support each other. There are some instances where you can go foot to foot, but generally speaking, it's a shallow or deep triangle depending on what you want to do. And then there's some exceptions where you can use that because the pro to foot on foot is you're able to move quicker, right? And you can move into different positions and transitions faster. But it's not as secure. It's not that hard for me to pry with the elbow and just separate. You're welcome. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is learn how to heel slip from there. Okay, so if Giles goes this side for a second, and he gets the heel, and he has an inside knee position, then I need to get rid of that because it's kind of hard to hand fight here. It's not impossible, but it's harder, right? It's important for you to know that when my leg is bent from here, it's way hard to get the break, even if it doesn't seem that way. Because generally speaking, we want to have a bend, right? But if Josh is trying to break me here, he needs extension before he can break me. You see, he extending and then he gets the break. Go a little further, yeah. There's the break. So I have time. It's not like he grabs the heel and I need to tap right away. That's not how it works, right? If he doesn't have the inside knee position, it's pretty simple. I just need to hand fight, get a 2-on-1 grip. There's different grips you can choose. It's not the only option, but get a 2-on-1. Put this foot under the elbow, pry the elbow open, put this one on plantar flexion, so ballerina feet, and turn your knee in while facing your heel away. And I just relock, and everything's good. So even if he holds it with pressure, when we're here, do you have pressure?
A little bit.
Yeah, well, like I don't sweat about it. It's not hard. Okay, as long as you know how to do it. If he has the inside knee position, I can't do that properly most of the time. So what I need to do is get this knee position out of the way. I hip post so he doesn't go belly down. If he goes belly down, put the knees to the floor. It's like now that's nasty. I'm not going to hand fight that. So in order for him not going belly down, I use this. Now I need to get under this knee. I just push, lift it up a little so I can scoot under here. Now I've stolen the inside position back. Now I can collect, keep it close, I collect, can come in, and we're neutral again. So it's a little more work, but you have that time to do that. So if you have problems, do it without the inside knee position, but if you can, do it with the inside knee position. It just adds on, right? So we don't have an inside knee position, but he gets the foot, so it's grabbing a 2-on-1. Sometimes I can even grab the hat. You have different options, right? But if you can't reach the hat, you can reach the arm. Come in with the foot, pry the elbow open, slip the heel, come back. If he has an inside knee position, I need to hip post so he doesn't invert. I need to go under the knee so I can steal back this position. And now I can grab, now I can put my knee inside, now I can slip and everything's fine. Some of you will still be able to slip from here, depending on how long your partner is, how long you are still able to make it work. But it's a little bit harder. And depending on the body type, that may not be possible, so it's important to know both. Any questions regarding that? Can you start, or do I need to show it again? We're here, he gets the heel. I did something wrong. I don't panic, I hand fight. I put this under, right? So we're starting here, you put a little pressure. I didn't go fast, right? He didn't go fast either. It's important to note. But it's not hard. Go a little faster. Okay? It's important to know that you need to practice it like that if you can do it. Because it gives you the feeling of it, the time. when you still can get it and when not. At first, don't do it with resistance, but be aware that you need to practice these kind of things with resistance. If he has the inside knee position, it's the same thing. I have a smaller window, right, because I need to do more. But if he tries to break me from here, he's going to come here. Are you still trying to break me? And just look, and everything is fine. Once you got that down, people will not just easily heel hook you from here again. Okay, then it's work. Then he needs to go through more steps. It's way, way different. So this is really important. And if everything you take away from this class is he's gonna catch my heel and my knee's not gonna explode right away, then that's good. Okay? Try it out, go. Any questions regarding the things we just did? Yeah.
How would you separate the legs in first?
Yes. There is two trains of thought. Opening my legs up, so it's easier to slip in, but then he has heel exposure as well. I need to be mindful. Or keeping it closed and slipping in, which is a little harder, but it keeps you safer. I can cross post, turn my hip out, keep it a little tighter, turn my hip out and drop my knee to the inside. It's just about angles. What you don't want to do is turn, because then your knee's going to push into this thigh. Like this is not going to happen. I need to move my butt back and point the knee down towards the floor, and now I can slip. If that's too hard, I can try to separate legs by getting an arch grip and a cross grip on the heel. The same I would do to get heel exposure. Strip his feet across, get the inside position then, and proceed from there. And you can do opening legs first, or trying to get the knee in first, with both open or closed legs. Those are the main variations we have. We have a couple of ways to do that. But that's one of the easiest ways to think about it. It's either cross post, get the hand on the floor, turn the knee in. If you can't do that, for whatever reason, try to open up the feet. Now I can go in, now I can start to catch. Any other questions? Yeah.
So when your opponent has a heel hook on you and you defend, when do you roll instead of trying to break the grip?
Most of the time, it only happens in backside 50-50. There's a window where you can rotate back to normal 50-50. But besides that, there's not really that many instances where you would turn out of 50-50. That's one thing I wanted to show you, because it's important to know when to do what, because you can hurt yourself if you do it wrong. So when we're here, and we end up in a backside 50-50 configuration. Oh, let's turn once, I'm sorry. That wasn't very graceful. So when we're here, if his upper shoulder is behind his lower shoulder, I can still backstep. If his upper shoulder comes in front of his shoulder and I try to backstep, I break my own leg. That's what happened to BJ Penn. He was trying to backstep while Ryan Hall was going belly down, and in between he broke it. But when he's here, you feel like, I don't want to go that way, okay? So when he's here, I backstep, but I don't hit my hip to the floor. So if I backstep and I bring my hip to the floor and he's just ripping it across with a rotational finish, he's going to break me. So what I'm going to do is I backstep a little so I can get my foot behind his elbow again. That's all I need. And I strip it before I let my hip fall to the floor. Keep it tight. This becomes pretty easy. So we're here. I look at his shoulder if I can't feel it. We're here, okay, I can backstep, but not let my hip fall. Come under the elbow, point the toes, pull up, slip, and we are back in a neutral position and everything is good. Now, it gets trickier if I'm too late and he goes belly down. Now, this becomes a pain in the butt. And you may need to tap here. It's a very late stage defense, okay? But it's valuable to know. I need to control this. I need to come over his knee and rotate in the direction he's breaking me. That's the rotational escape obstacle. And when we're here, I force the neutral position again, and then we can start slipping the same way we did before. Right, so those are two ways to go about that. And again, you need to practice that with resistance, not too much at the beginning, right? You need to have a good partner to be able to feel when you need to do what. Because you're in a bad spot. It's not easy. It wouldn't be a good position for him if it would be easy. But you still have options from there. It's not over. But it's important to know what to do when. And the shoulder tells you what to do. You see, here, you can still backstep. If you're going belly down, you can't backstep. You need to rotate with it to get into the position we were in before. And then it's the same thing. Nothing changes. So this was a brief overview. There's much more. And there's so many things you can do to undo my things and vice versa. But if all I achieved today was give you an introduction into 50-50 and heel hooks, and my knee's not gonna explode just because he has the heel and I can slip and do stuff, then that's good. Just familiarize yourself with the position a little. Any questions? Tatu?
Can you show your those to escape or pass, or just disengaging from the 50? What do you do?
I like to take the back.
Okay.
But against 50-50, it's a little more work. So one way to do is force the stand up and get his legs to an inside position to slip my heel. And from here, I can backstep and go into scissor wedge back legs from here. That's my favorite way. I can show you later. Any other questions?
How do you take the back?
Ask me later, I'll show you. Anything else? Yeah,
You see the two escapes again from the back step. And the
of course. So we're here, and he was able to force the backside position, right? If his top shoulder is behind his bottom shoulder, I can backstep without letting my hip fall, come under his elbow, pry it open, just like before, point the toes, slip the heel, and go into the position we were in before. If he goes belly down, let's scoot back a little bit. If he goes belly down, I feel like I'm not gonna do that. So I need to come over the knee. If I don't come over the knee, I don't steal the inside position of his knee, and he still has good opportunities to finish. I need to control this leg, because if I don't, he's gonna go into cross hip. Do you know cross hip, the thing Lachlan did? So if I just go here and I don't control the leg, you end up here and get broken anyways. Because I need to put this leg on the other side. That's why I need to control it. So when we're here, I come over the knee, I control the foot, and now I rotate him over and bring my foot into position right away. Now I can hand fight, slip the heel, and we're back to neutral. Okay, those are not easy, but they're effective. And because people play backside 50-50 more and more, try to put that into your game. Don't try to flee backside 50-50. It's not gonna work against someone who knows what to do. You can't just run away out of the position, okay? But if you have questions regarding that, I can show you later. It's no problem, right? So thank you very much for the class. It's open mat after, so grab me, ask me anything, right? Don't be shy. And let's take a picture, please. Thank you very much.